Here are a few of my dating non-negotiables as a man with strict boundaries. These are my boundaries. You do what you want to do. These are mine.
So I saw this video and it kind of reminded me of myself when I was like my early mid 20s. I was a sergeant in the military. I was like very hyper masculine and also like kind of wounded and like pretty insecure and didn't know it yet. And some of you might see this video and think it's super refreshing. Like, oh my goodness, it's a man with standards, like finally, right? But others might hear this and think it feels kind of cold and rigid. I played this video for my wife and she was like, I wish y'all could have seen her face. Here's the thing, as a married man with a very soft, nurturing, feminine woman, and as a guy who was former military and also worked in counterintelligence, and then now spent the last 4 years coaching people on emotional regulation, things like that, I think there's some nuance here that you'll want to pay attention to, okay? Especially if you want to experience a life that is more regulated and relaxed, and you want to experience relationships that are truly healthy versus like kind of performative and unhealthy. The first thing, like what's being described in this video are not boundaries, okay? They're standards, they're expectations, they're rules, and like not knowing the difference is worth paying attention to. Both that he maybe doesn't know the difference and worth paying attention to if maybe you didn't know the difference. Maybe this is like new information for you that's worth paying attention to. Boundaries protect us, right? Like for example, if you raise your voice, then I'm going to step away, okay? That's a boundary. Expectations and standards attempt to control things outside of you. Do this or you're gone. Do this or you're gone. And that's the language that he used. And we'll talk about that, but ultimately, like, this type of rigidity usually stems in wanting our partner to meet needs that maybe weren't met as children. Man or woman, if you act this way, if you have a lot of these unspoken expectations, uncommunicated expectations, and there's a lot of them, ultimately the other person ends up feeling like they're walking on eggshells. And this is because you are kind of volatile, and maybe that's representative of the environment that you grew up in, okay? You may have lacked a level of safety with one of your primary caregivers or both, and now you look for perfection and have very high standards because that's what gives you a sense of control and safety now. But I'm here to tell you, like, as I've gotten older, as I've matured emotionally and spiritually, true masculine leadership is not concerned with controlling anyone or anything. Like, that's not leadership, and control is not leadership, okay? Think about, oh, did y'all see that wasp? Like, think about our current president, how he's so concerned with law and order, right? Like, does he represent leadership to you, honestly? Now, I can see this brother is, like, attractive probably to, like, a lot of people. He has a lot of resources. He reminds me of those guys, those podcast guys that usually see themselves and talk about themselves as the prize, which is, I'm not even going to talk about that. But I do think it's good to know your worth, right? I do think that's a really good thing. But the language and the delivery to me matters, okay? Calling women something to clip is objectifying. And like, man or woman, when we do this to each other, it doesn't necessarily, like, not even necessarily, it doesn't open the door to connection and intimacy. It just doesn't, okay? Now, again, we tend to do this to people when we've been hurt, right? This is posturing. This is a wall that we're putting up. Like, rappers put this wall up against transactional women trying to take from them, but they're also often very transactional in their behavior themselves. So chicken or the egg, I don't know which came first. But if you hear a man talk like this and it actually sounds attractive to you, that's worth reflecting on. Because if he talks like this, one, this is the same transactional energy he's trying to protect himself against, but also he's giving that, okay? So you might not want to be in a relationship like that. But also, two, you might be drawn to this kind of rigidity and structure if you've been in chaotic relationships. A man with firm rules can feel safe, but the thing that you have to watch out for is it feels safe at first. And I'm intentionally not using the word boundaries here again because everything that he laid out here are not boundaries. over time, all of these rules, these checklists, these expectations, and I don't even know at what point you communicate them. Probably a huge turnoff if you do it within the first few dates. But anyways, all of these things ultimately feel controlling as opposed to grounding. Now, when you come from a lot of dysfunction, again, initially, it's going to feel different and it might feel good, but it's not going to stay that way. The opportunity here for you is recognizing that you don't have to outsource your safety to someone else's rigid structure and control. You can learn how to create safety in your own body. Again, this is for you if this is what's attractive to you, okay? When you're regulated, you don't need a man's extensive checklist and rules to feel safe and to feel held. When you're regulated, you can choose a partner who offers clarity and compassion, not control and expectation and cold energy. I remember my marriage therapist told me once, your job, your soldiers, like, they need Sergeant Scott, but your wife needs Sydney. That's what really changed the game for me. And I said a lot in what my therapist just said. Really, she said a lot. And you got to be able to know the difference. You got to be able to grasp all that simple line means. The real question here at the end of the day is not, do I meet his standards, but ultimately, why does this energy feel attractive to me? And what does that tell me about where I still might need some healing myself? Because at the end of the day, again, clarity without warmth is not leadership, it's insecurity, more than likely. And again, masculine leadership has very little to do with control and having an extensive list of rules. And I don't know why he's bucking at the camera. You're clipped every time he lays out one of his rules and expectations. I don't know. Again, this just kind of reminded me of myself when I was like still trying to step into what I thought a man was supposed to be. And I was very hurt and just didn't know it yet. But I don't know. If you watch the whole video, let me know what your thoughts are. I haven't seen his videos. I saw this one. And judging by the fact that he has a couple million followers all over, this could just be social media. This might not even be who he actually is in real life. Like, let's be honest. And dating on social media is definitely not real life. But anyways, that's what I got.